Mi nombre está aquí.
Oh. Oh, I thought it was on. Let me start all over. We will be commencing the Housing Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 9th. It is approximately 5:13 p.m. This meeting is being conducted as a hybrid meeting. You may remotely access the meeting through the platforms such as Facebook Lawrence City Council page and our YouTube Lawrence City Council page. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of Housing Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person at the location of 200 Common Street in our City Council chambers, or they're able to access this meeting through our Facebook and YouTube City Council pages. Can I also get a motion to approve our minutes for council approval dated June 27th of 2024?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion was made and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. The first item in the agenda is, under new business, is item number 333-24, which is Review Real Property Task Force. Our City Council President, are you going to be discussing this item for us?
Through you, Madam Chair. This item, the purpose of having this item in the agenda for today's discussion, it was because during our last meeting, it was brought to our attention that the property task force that has been in the city for quite some time, we need to have a discussions around this. After getting deep into it and getting a resolution or an ordinance change back in 2017, 2016, it got to my attention that the property task force was eliminated back then by the city council, even though it's been used by the city as a tool to provide us guidance to the city council and also to give you a recommendation of the dispositions of the properties, including but not limited to the RFP and any potential use of the properties. That recommendation we get it at the city council, at the housing committee specifically. Potentially that might change. So with that in mind, we brought that item to the Housing Committee, since this is one of the tools that we use here, and for the last year, longer for Council LaPlante, for being in this committee, we've been using this property task force as one of the most significant tools for the Housing Committee, and we would like to discuss this. During the last full council meeting, we took a measurement of adopting this, putting on the agenda as an emergency, and also taking a motion to invite the director of the department that is here with us today to potentially discuss this item. So with that said, Madam Chair, I would like to providing the opportunity to open the discussions around what is it, what is happening, and what are the changes, and what is it, how we're going to move forward.
Okay. Is there anyone in the city council chambers that wish to discuss this item?
I'm not sure what the council's wishes are with regards to this in terms of explanation of the Real Property Task Force. In general, the Real Property Task Force is a multi-member body, which multi-member bodies, as the council may know, per charter are appointed by the mayor. They're not necessarily created by the legislative body. It's the mayor that actually decides the creation of the multi-member bodies, who's part of those, and what the task and purposes of those multi-member bodies are. My understanding is that this is not a city council committee per se, so it wasn't created by the council. That's just as background. In terms of the management of that kind of properties, we have here land use planner as well as the asset manager that are members of that and have been managing that on a day-to-day basis, and they can speak more specifically to any kind of questions that you may have regarding this multi-member body.
Okay. Just real quick, just to gain an understanding, we're looking to, being that this was eliminated back in 2007, we're looking to revive this task force by the mayor?
Yeah, I don't think that that's in the council's purview. If you read the charter.
Well, no, the question that I had is the purpose of this discussion is because of wanting to revive this task force?
I'm not sure what the council's wishes are on this,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam Chair, Madam Chair of the Housing Committee, that's the intent. The intent is to bring this ordinance back, or at least to discuss this with the city councilors and see the importance of the real estate task force and how we actually rely on it and we actually trust. So if it is a mistrust within the process, this might be an issue to the public, which we've been building this confidence within the city of Longmont for years, and we actually understand that having this body in place by how it's been working, not necessarily by what the intention is right now, and I actually would like to go back to the item that is on your package, to what was the intent by former councilor
No, I wrote
Carlos
this, I know.
Matos that is in front of us
That's when I
today.
was a council, so I'm familiar with this.
It is interesting how things might change now in
I'm not
perspective.
changing, councilors. I
So, but,
fully take full responsibility for what I was putting forward then.
Back then-
I'm explaining to you that according to the charter, that is the purview of the mayor to actually create
Alright.
those things. And this is why it was voted down when I
All
tried to
right.
put this
Do
forward.
you have your recommendation, former councilor Matos? Do you have your recommendation that you had back then in front of you?
I don't have it in front of me, but I kind of remember what it was, what I
I would like you
said,
to read
so-
it.
I'm happy, sure, absolutely.
I
Council.
would like you to read it because that will give us a good sense
And
of
it speaks
what's
very
the
much to
intent
the
by now.
trust and confidence and the transparency that
Exactly.
the council wants to talk about.
Exactly. So it's, I guess that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
When you were a councilor, I don't know if we are right now.
I think we are on the same page. I'm not saying that anything that I said there is not something that we want. We definitely want that in city government. We want confidence, we want trust, and we want transparency. All I am saying to the council today is that if we read the charter, the one who can appoint to or create multi-member bodies is not the city council per se, but the mayor's office. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have those things. That doesn't mean that there isn't the cooperation that can occur in the way that was designed there. And I don't remember exactly the particulars of it being voted down, but I remember, I suspect that part of the reason why it was voted down was precisely because of what I'm saying. And as a matter of fact, the city attorney has issued an opinion with that. I tried to bring it to us, but I didn't get a copy of it in time. But I have members of my staff that can speak to that in terms of that opinion, and we can get a copy to this committee regarding what the city council has
I'll get
stated.
it to you.
Okay, thank you.
While we're waiting for those documents, does anyone else have any questions or would like to bring up?
Yes,
What was that?
you were there, exactly.
Oh,
We were there. Yeah.
Councilor LaPlante, nothing? Okay.
Council, so we're just killing time. I'm eager to read the opinion. I find this discussion fascinating. I've read the cover memo, and it says there's no ordinance for this, and so there's no ordinance, and it's an
Correct.
advisory board, which is what I think Director Matos is alluding to or speaking to.
Correct.
And of course, it's the mayor's prerogative, as Mr. Matos properly said, to send the properties down. We can either approve or reject. We can certainly reject and give our opinions.
Correct.
I just don't, I'm going to be very careful and watch where the lanes are in this. I don't want us to I don't want to gain more authority. I just want to make sure that the authority that each branch has been properly wielded. So that's where I'm going to come from on this. Thank you.
And I think I echo those words, Counselor. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm 100% for Council President, what Council President is saying. I think that those things are fundamental to government, regardless what branch it is. But what we also, to your point, Counselor, we do need to make sure which lanes we are in, because that is the roles that we all have to play. But they're not mutually exclusive from the goal, is what I want to really emphasize today.
Okay. Council President Rodriguez, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the meeting. Essentially. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. Essentially, what we want to do is to maintain the trust that back then probably was broken. Since then, you guys work it out through until we got here. And we haven't seen no property in front of us without the recommendation of the task force it was in place by ordinance. Even though we probably were ignorant of the vote that took place. If things are working fine, why changing it when it comes to people's trust? You stated there, the recommendation was taken and the task force was voted down. Your recommendations give us, as a councilor, a lot more power than what the ordinance says. And we just want the ordinance back. You see how fair we are? We are so fair that we don't want to go with this because we have built a system that works. And if something works, why changing it? Unless we want to mistrust or have a mistrust on the people.
So, Council President, I would just say that the choices are not binary. It's not either we do this and there is no trust, or we do this, there is trust. I think that there's a lot more dimension to it than just this yes or no type choices on things. I think that speaking to understanding the responsibility of each branch, to the goals of everyone in terms of understanding and being able to have the proper input per each branch, that we have to figure out what system works best around that. And quite frankly, as I mentioned before, I'm speaking to the fact that this is not within the purview of the council to create. As per the charter, it is within the power of the mayor to create multi-member bodies, to select multi-member body. If you look at 10.2, for example, it's in there. I figure what that's also referred to in section 2 as well of the charter, if I recall correctly.
Do you mind reading the section 3 of your recommendation back then?
Sure.
Recommendation
That is
and
the
conclusion.
recommendation. The rest of it is background. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
The number
points on
3, the
there.
recommendation, yes.
All of
Yeah,
them?
under recommendations and conclusion, there are 5 bullet points that
The
I
last
put
3?
back in 2006.
Oh, number 3.
I think it was, yes, 2006. So the city council should issue an order as per Rule 13 and have the current real property task force stop all activities. So I think that that's opposite to what you're asking for, Council President.
Yes, it is.
Okay. The city council should incorporate into RFP development process neighborhood meetings to determine the sentiment, best use, and impact of various property redevelopment schemes. There is currently, and to that end, City Council President, I would say to you that that is what we want to do with some of the positions that the council has approved. We need to do more planning. I've stated this here several times. I think that we need to do more planning in the position of comprehensive planner, for example, that will take into consideration the neighborhood needs, because it's not only about vacant properties or city-owned properties. It's about some of the needs that the neighborhoods, or some of the issues that the neighborhoods are facing that we haven't focused on as much because we've been focused on the redevelopment of the downtown or business areas. And so we want to really try focusing on planning around the neighborhoods from the city point of view to help those agencies as well.
Yeah, but remember, back then, you say the city council should incorporate, not the community development.
Correct. It says here the city council should incorporate into the RFP development process neighborhood meetings to determine the sentiment. Correct? I did say that, and this
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but keep on reading. I mean, do you see how things, you see how things are moving? When you were recommending those back then, how things are moving, like, you know, those things that are here are great. Do we want to do this? I think that we should be a little more flexible than what you were before, and try to maintain things as how it's been working for the last 20 years. But if you keep on reading, you will see how drastic that can be for the administration.
I don't think that this is necessarily drastic for the administration. I think the administration wants input from the neighborhoods. I think that what we're debating here is how, not the what. I think that we're all agree on the what. I think we do want input from the neighborhoods when they're affected by some of this development. The question here is the how, not the what. And that's what we're trying to figure out, what the framework around that is.
I mean, I would like you to keep on reading this for the
Sure,
record,
listen,
because
wrote it, so I'm
I think
happy-
it's so important for.
I'm happy you admire my work, Council President.
I have looked into a lot of different things
I
that you
have a
wrote
lot
back
more
there.
ordinances than this that I wrote too.
Can we proceed with reading the
As Councilor Plank
recommendations?
can attest to, as I sat next to him. Okay, so, where was I? So the city council should incorporate into the RFP development process neighborhood meetings to determine the sentiment, best reuse impact of various property redevelopment schemes. There is currently notification to the abutters. If not currently done, this should be sent to known neighborhood groups that register organizations with the Office of Planning and Development, who should maintain a current database of these organizations and potential stakeholders. Again, the goal, we have the same goal, that hasn't changed. I don't believe it has changed. The city council should assume the task of opening and public reviewing and selecting the successful bids. This will increase the public confidence, make the process transparent, provide opportunity for input, and create a public record of the decision. Well, in truth, any bids, there's already a public record of the position, right? We have the procurement department that does exactly this function, right? And this is a very public, part of the public record, right? And understand, council, my intentions with regards to this is within the power that I had to be able to, you know, get that information. And so this is why I put this down here. The council should work with the city attorney, which is under its supervision, and the land use planner to develop a rubric or criteria that targets real property from a priority to the city in terms of neighborhood revitalization, improvements, revenue opportunities. Again, I come before this council saying these very same things, and I agree with the goal. The land use planner should issue the monthly report to the city council, which clearly indicates the disposition status of properties. The properties should remain in the final transfer of ownership occurs with any issues or changes in status indicated. That, I think, is a very doable thing, and there's no reason why we can't provide that information to the council.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Proceed, Council President.
Thank you. So essentially, we have these recommendations that
That
are.
failed, Council President, remember.
No, you did a great job, actually.
Thank you.
Well, things that the real estate task force has been doing for the last over 20 years. I understand that these took place back then. But for some reason, this vote was ignored over time, and it's a common practice that the Real Task Force has been recommending to the City Council, to the Housing Committee, to the Full Council, the best use of the properties. Changing that to what is says here, I have no issues with that whatsoever. We're willing to take over. And we're willing to actually, when it comes to power, and when it comes to the fine power, we also can create
This council can create committees and subcommittees, absolutely, yes.
So if we're gonna go that way, and then we're gonna end up having a committee here, a task force there, another committee here, and another task force there. No, that's not the intent. The intent is to find the best use of the property through a task force that is actually a force that everybody's happy with, that we can go by, that is, if it is in an ordinance, like it says here on the last pages of that package that we have, if it is through the ordinance that is there and we refine it, we're willing to work with this, by all means. By all means, because I mean, this is very deep. And as a matter of fact, if we look into it, that's something that once the mayor sign it into a law, it's a local ordinance that is in fact a legit
Not
group.
exactly, Council President.
Well, it's signed by the mayor. If we want to put into the ordinance that the mayor need to sign it every 4 years.
Yeah, Council President, the only thing I would push back on that is just because you say, gee, you have to give me your firstborn after, any firstborn born in January, and you put that in an ordinance and someone signs it, it doesn't necessarily make it legal. And so that's where you have conflicts with regards to laws, and this is why you need to sort some of these things out. So not everything that gets codified like that necessarily is legitimate.
Through you,
So
Madam Chair.
that's why what happens when you start testing these things, and Council LaPlante can attest to this better than I, when you start challenging these things is when you find out the legalities of some of these things, whether or not it does. And often in laws and in documents like these, there are contradictions in trying to find out which one supersedes which one, right?
Right.
And so I was just cautioned to say just because it was codified and signed that it's necessarily that way.
Let me put it in perspective, through you, Madam Chair. Let me put it in perspective. So what you're saying, did you check with the city solicitor?
Yes.
And he agreed with you?
He rendered an opinion that I have not yet read in completion, but yes.
Okay. So probably what we should
We'll
do.
get you a copy, Council, on this. I don't know if we have a copy. Yeah, well, I promise you that we'll get a copy. That's why I was a little late. I was trying to get a copy for the
Yeah,
council.
probably what we should do is perhaps have the city attorney coming in front of us, discussing the different perspective, because probably the opinion that you're getting from him is based on any type of discussions that you guys have. If we have here and we ask specific questions, we might have a different perspective. I'm not saying that the opinion is not right. I'm just saying that, having different conversations and discussions around it might bring us to a better place. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, for us to do a disposition of a property, we have a specific process. And that process is as follows. We do the surplus declaration for the property. We create the RFP. The RFP go up to the public if the property goes over a specific amount of dollars under any of the 3 programs we have. And then we do the specific disposition for that property. It could be a direct disposition or any of the 3 programs we use. It could be all the process as well. If we have a system in place that works, why changing it?
So, Council, I would like to see whether or not it is working for the mayor's office and get his input with regards to that. It may be a question. See, the legislative side of the House takes a little bit longer on purpose when you deliberate and create systems, right? And so that's why you have, and also the fact that the council is usually not a full-time member such as staff. And so that's where a lot of the differences lie with regards to some of the executive versus the legislative processes. And part of that is the processes that you folks have to do to deliberate are not processes that the executive branch necessarily has to do, and that allows a certain speed, let's say, to process things. So that may be some consideration there. I agree, let's go have the city attorney come here so they could ask him questions. I would also say to you that a lot of the things that I wrote here, again, it's not the whether yes or no, it's the how. And I think that we could figure out how with regards to these things.
Okay.
And that's what I would say.
One more thing, Madam Chair. I just want to say a few things for what is on the on document 134
06.
2006, chapter 214, which is the real estate task force, and the establishment of it, and the quorum, and any other specifics. But one thing that caught to my attention is that it says on this paragraph, and that in accordance with section 104020, the Lawrence Municipal Code, this ordinance repeal and supersede any ordinance provisions related to the real estate task force. So, there is an establishment of the real task force in the city purpose to review the city-owned properties that have declared surplus by the city council, preparing a draft document or a draft request for proposal, and something that many other things that they were still doing until not that long ago, but something that caught to my attention is the members of the real task force, the real estate task force, which is a member of the city council appointed by the president of the city council, and the director of planning, the director of community development, the director of economic development, the land use planner, the city attorney, the commission on inspection of service, and the mayor of his designee. Those are the people that are on that task force.
Correct.
Most of the people there are part of the administration, which means that the process wouldn't delayed at all whatsoever. So basically, essentially, what we have in front of us is something that it is a thoughtful process to put this task force together, and if we ended up doing something not related to, and excuse me that I'm looking at the screen, that I'm not looking at your face, it's confusing. Yes, it's very confusing, trust me. So something that it's very, I think, efficient when it comes to everybody that have different opinion, difference of opinion, that are not necessarily part of the council or the mayor's office, that is people in between that work for the mayor, actually, all of them, except for the person that it's a member of the council. And basically, I haven't get the minutes, but I'll get to that point yet. But part of the conversation why this task force was an issue to the council back then, when you were when you discussed and voted against this task force, it was because of the section 9.6 of the charter, part of the government, that you want every council to have a part of it, not only one person. And that was part of it. Well, I'll get the minutes. I'll get the whole thing around it, and then essentially, and I agree with that. But I mean, looking at the functionality of a task force that actually work, I think it's fine the way it is. Changing it might become an issue. And actually, as a matter of fact, it's like we got to understand the problem here is that. Not the problem. What it's the check and balance of government is that this need to be approved by the city council, and we're asking to maintain the same system. I mean, not the task force necessarily, but the dispositions. So if we get to the point that we have an issue with dispositions, then what's the point of doing anything of this? The whole city, the whole housing committee, most of the stuff that we're doing here is properties. So if we don't have that system that actually work and maintain and keep up with it, I think that, it's like it's a little challenging here. And get me on that.
Yeah, I can understand your concern in terms of wanting to, have the input into this, Counselor. I truly do. What I can do is I could have a conversation, which I have not yet had, with the mayor, who is the person who appoints and creates this multi-member bodies, and see what he's thinking in regards to this, what problems he may be seeing that the councilors are not necessarily seeing, that he's trying to solve by changing things. And, I'm happy to come back, discuss it further, and kind of relay it and figure out what can we do. Like I said, as I read these things here, with the exception of elimination, the first one, right? The goals, I don't think that anybody's disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with it. I don't think the mayor's disagreeing with it, and I know that you guys want this. I think that it's the how, like I said. And I think once there's a million different ways to achieve the same goals, and let's figure out what the best way is in this case to ensure the things that we all want, which
Okay.
in terms of efficiency, transparency, and the trust that the public has placed on all of us.
City Council President, do you have any last remarks?
No, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you. Let's wait and then have a further discussion on this.
All right. I do see our land use planner, Danny McCarthy, here with us today. Did you wish to speak on this item? You don't have to, but,
No, I have nothing further to add. If you have questions about the historical aspects of it, I was here when we wrote it and got rid of it, but other than that, I have nothing to add to the presentation that was made by Mr. Matos.
okay. Any councilors, Santiago, Councilor LaPlante, do you wish to speak on this item?
Just a couple things, if you meant, Madam Chair. I just would caution my colleague, the council president, to be judicious in using the word "we." We as a council, especially if we haven't voted on something, so typically the word "I" would probably be more appropriate if that's the way you feel about something. Just, it overinflates things. It'd be helpful. One, two, I think it's also important, and I appreciate, I'm actually very surprised by this. I find this to be fascinating. The vote that took place in 2007. We have what goes around comes around, which the council president talked about. It's kind of, to me, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I'll stop right there. So what I think I think what's really important here as well is if we're going to be making changes, we need to figure out what the problems are, right? So as we go through this, and I understand we may be tabling this perhaps, and we may ask the city attorney to come here to provide the legal aspects of it, and that sounds good. I'm in favor of that. But I also think to bring some flavor and some context to this discussion, what is going wrong with the current system that needs to be changed, if at all? So I'm curious as to hear what that is, because I've been, I'm not going to say how long I've been on the council, but I rarely have come across a problem with the Real Property Task Force. Not all the time were things that I would want to see happen, but what I'm appreciative of the Real Property Task Force is, and I know this is going to sound really weird, but the politics, there's always going to be politics, but it takes the politics out of, to some extent out of here, where I've got to select this one or that one or this one. We've got a group, if we trust them and they're doing their job correctly, to do some metrics, to do some analysis, and to provide to the mayor the top person based on those metrics, and then brings it down to us. We at that point can say yes or we can say no, but it certainly takes the politics. I'm not getting a phone call from 3 different applicants saying, I put $500,000 for this property and blah, 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 and it just puts me as a city councilor in a position that I would rather not be in if the administration does its job correctly. It's balanced, it's fair, it provides the information, and then I get it. So if that's working, I want it to stay like that. If it's not working, then yeah, we need to examine why is it not working. That's why I want to know what is the problem that we're looking to address. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The only thing I'll state was, with the short amount of time that I have been a member and chairing the Housing Committee, and then seeing the issue of when we have submitted certain items from housing to the full council on a property, I think the last time there was an issue. So there has been challenges where transparency was put into question. Unbeknownst to me, I was led to believe that there was a task force in place. So this is actually news to me that we don't have a task force. So I am actually intrigued and wanting to, I'm intrigued to get the attorney's insight on this matter, and I'm not sure if our city council president wanted to elaborate in terms of answering your question, Councilor LaPlante, in regards to what are the issues in place and the reasoning behind wanting to revive this task force.
I would just make one small amendment, and maybe the land use planner can discuss this, but I do believe there is a real property task force. There is a group. They do meet, they do evaluate, they do study,
Okay.
and they do that. So
Okay.
that's what happens. But I don't want to, through you, Madam Chair, did you want to add any more to that, Mr.
So
McCarthy?
I think part of the problem is the naming
Is it on? No. No, put it back on.
that in the naming of the commission that was working with the city. When I started with the city back in 2005, Lawrence was coming out of the 1990s, and we had a crisis with housing, not with housing, but with abandoned properties. We had more than 400 abandoned properties in the city. We had gone through a fire crisis and then a drop in the market on housing, and a lot of abandoned properties. So the state had stepped in at one point and assisted us and gave us our own date at the at the land court. It's called Lawrence Day, and we had our own day once a week to go in and handle all Lawrence's backload of cases. So when the Real Property Task Force was first started, part of the job was identifying properties in tax title and how we handled those, which ones were prioritized to go to land court, which ones were handled. We looked into the ability to maybe do auctions, things of that nature, just trying to work with this huge backload of more than 400 abandoned properties in the cities and vacant lots. I remember the first year I was here, we made $2.5 million in property sales from that vast grouping of properties. And a lot of those properties were valuable properties and decent properties. And like, as I said, we had built up a depository of these properties. And so we kind of worked for those in the first few years. The Real Property Task Force, for whatever reason, was abandoned as an entity. And then there was what we had later on was just an advisory committee to the mayor. And I think, right or wrong, they called it the Real Property Task Force. But it wasn't a task force or a statutory created board like the Planning Board or the Zoning Board or Historic Commissions. It was just an advisory committee to the mayor on recommendations on how property should be handled. And that's how it's been since then. I think that's the biggest question is why do we call it the Real Property Task Force? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the history of how it came to be. So for the last 18 years, it's been essentially an advisory board to the mayor, not they didn't make decisions, they didn't make determinations, they didn't have really any authority other than make recommendations.
Okay.
Sure.
Any last
So
thing?
through you, Madam Chair, and that's exactly what we've been getting. But I mean, also the recommendation for the task force. How the last name is whatever the task force. Let's say. It was also in regard to the RFPs. And the RFPs is a very important document to the process, as to how the properties are going to go to a way that is going to be convenient to the city. So the task force was essential, and that's basically what we want to maintain. And it was in place until some time ago, and they actually voted also in terms of making a determination and advice to the mayor. So it was a vote, a recorded vote that took place, and that gave us a sense of more trust to the process, because it was not something that was under somebody's pressure. It was something that it was evaluated and definitely presented to the mayor through a vote, and also the recommendations come down to the council. That's how the real estate task force understood that the property was going to be for the best use of the city. So until a few weeks
Okay.
ago, that I guess that it's not longer function.
Right. So, I'm looking for a recommendation.
I'll make a recommendation.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to invite over the city attorney to discuss this and to discuss the proper task force. And if any member of the task force that feel confident about coming to talk to us, it's also a recommendation to come over. That's a motion. And essentially, right after that, I'm going to make a motion to table.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to table, oh, you want to do the invitation first? The item needs to be tabled. So we have a motion on the table to table this item, and we will revisit this item in addition with the invitation with the city attorney to elaborate more on item number 333-24. Seconded by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Is there any other items in the under tabled matters that we need to review? Are we all set? Anything under tabled matters? No? Okay. So, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
Oh, I have an agenda item
Oh, I just asked.
on the layout. Oh, no, the layout means for Amesbury Street. You should have got copies of those. I submitted a package last week.
I don't have the, oh. What is it under tabled matters?
It's on, yeah, it's from last week.
Do you mind giving me the item number?
What's that?
What is the item number? Oh, 29824. Okay. So, I don't, we just adjourned.
So, who put the motion to
Two.
Okay,
I guess that we can.
rescind your motion to adjourn? Okay.
I'll
Can I get a
I'll rescind
second?
I'll rescind my motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table to rescind our motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye, and the ayes have it. We will be now addressing item number under table matters 298-24, which is the acceptance of street layout plan for Amesbury and Lawrence Street area for Amesbury Street two-way redevelopment project. We have our land use planner, Daniel McCarthy, to speak on behalf of this item.
Yeah, so these plans were submitted, I'm sure the copies were 8.5 by 11, so I blew them up a little bit today.
Thank you.
But it's a pretty straightforward request. This is project number 4 of this summer from the Mass DOT's reconstruction and highway projects. This is the realignment of Amesbury Street.
All right, Madam Chair, I'm gonna recuse myself from this vote.
Do you have to recuse yourself as well, Councilor LaPlante? my God, we're not gonna have quorum. This is a headache.
Through you, Madam Chair, does this have anything to do with Mass DEP?
None.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm here.
okay, okay. For future reference, though, whenever there is a specific items, do you mind, advising me via
I'm
email?
almost certain I thought I sent a letter to you last week requesting that we be taking this off the table. And
No,
I
no,
did-
not
and I
necessarily under
also wanna-
tabled, if it's involving other agencies, that way
Oh,
I'm,
yes,
I'm
no
able to
problem.
plan in advance
I
to make
understand.
sure we have quorum.
I understand, thank you.
Okay.
And first of all, I do want to apologize for last week or 2 weeks ago when I wasn't attending.
It's okay. It's okay.
The,
You may proceed. You
I
have the
just
floor.
Regret not giving you a call to let you know that. This is a pretty straightforward request tonight. You've approved the plans, the layout plans for the rail trail, Merrimack Street, and Marston Street over the last 2 months. Those were final plans after the easements were taken. I'm asking you to accept these plans prior to the taking of easements. The reason behind this is certain portions of the street layout were missing from the public record at the Registry of Deeds. So when our land surveyor and our engineers went through it, they could not find certain portions, intersections along Amesbury Street and along Lawrence Street that were missing from the street layout plans that are recorded at the Registry of Deeds. I don't have a reason for this. We made inquiry to the city engineer, looking for old plans, to look into the records. We've gone to the Registry of Deeds to research this. My only assumption can be a portion of this land was part of the Lawrence redevelopment land during the 70s and 80s. Maybe the layout of the streets was altered during this period. In any regards, the land surveyors that are working for us now on the Amesbury Street project went back out using the documents that they had and surveyed the streets and laid them out as they are currently existing today. And the purpose is to put this on the record as the existing layout plan of Amesbury Street and its intersecting streets. I'll be back probably in a couple months, asking you to readopt a new plan after we've done all the easements, but that's down the road. Prior to that, this is a necessary step. The state's requiring that we establish the base layout of the streets as it exists today. That's what these plans are today. I did send copies to the city engineer's office. They have no problem. I didn't get a letter in support, but they have reviewed these, and again, we have an engineering crew and a land surveyor working on this, and we're confident that these are the streets and the existing layout, and we want to have this adopted. And
I have a quick question.
yes,
So just to gain clarity, this layout that you're presenting before us, that you're seeking approval, it's including the easements?
It is not.
Is
Yeah,
not,
it is
okay. So for future reference, the layout plan that you will be presenting to us, can it show via markings or via it's highlighted or somehow indicated within the map
They
as
will.
to what is being included?
yes.
That wasn't included to begin with?
Yes.
All right,
I'll make sure of that.
all right.
And I think we've shown that in the past. Like I said, this is the existing conditions right now.
Okay. All right, any discussions? No? So I'm looking for a recommendation to submit this to full council for, as a favorable recommendation.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. So I believe, is there any other items in this agenda
No.
under tabled no? Okay.
No, thank you.
All right.
And again, I apologize.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
To adjourn.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. And the ayes have it. I have to go get my budget and finance. Oh, she needs my signature. She's available via Zoom. Not physically. Yeah, I believe so.
Ready?
Yes. Yes. But I'm hearing feedback of myself though. Is it because of that? All right, let's begin. Hello? No, I still hear myself. Hello? Perfect. All right. Good evening. We will be commencing today's Budget and Finance Committee. Today is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. It is approximately 6:23 p.m. Note, this meeting is being conducted as a hybrid meeting. You may remotely access this meeting through our digital platforms. Our voting members present today, our Madam Chair is available via Zoom. I will be chairing this meeting physically for today. And to my right, we have our City Council President, Councilor at Large Rodriguez. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person at the location above, which is our 200 Common Street City Council Chambers located at City Hall. In addition to that they are able to listen to or view this meeting in the following locations or platforms, so to speak, which is our Facebook Lawrence City Council page and our YouTube Lawrence City Council page. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance before we commence this meeting? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. There are no minutes for council approval, so the next item on the agenda is under new business, item number 332-24, which is the new metering agreement. Do we have our DPW director that is listed on our agenda, Jorge Jaime, to speak on behalf of this item? Is the mic? Okay. Do you mind just stating your name and your position for the record?
Anil Naukal, advisor to the mayor. Thank you for the opportunity. We are here to present the net metering arrangement that we have negotiated with the team of Agilitas. I'm just going to introduce them and let them make that presentation. I would like to see if this presentation can be seen on your screen as well. I have sent you the copy. I can forward it to all of you. I'll send copy to, 1 second, let me just log in. Yeah. So, just to be, I don't know whether you can see is the presentation on there or not. Should I?
Should be up on the screen. Is it connected to the screen there?
Yeah, I have connected it, so I don't know, it's not coming.
I don't know if John or I can help us.
Yeah, if you can.
John, is it on? Is it just?
It should be.
Is it this button? Is that, no?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, hold on. Wait. No, hold on.
I'll just sort of give you some brief background.
But hold on, I feel like it's still super dark.
I'll turn some of them on. That's good if you come in. Yeah, those.
You sure? Okay.
Should have. Not sure what technology is doing. Projects. Sorry for that. It's duplicate, so it should. Yeah. Apologize for the technology. This effort started about a year and a half ago, and there was certain amount of spare capacity available in Western Mass that the Agility Trust members approached us and said that they would like to have it available for communities like Lawrence because it is reserved for EJ communities, so we were qualified for it. It happens to be the last piece that was available, and they said that if we agree that with that can be allocated to us, and that's the whole effort started. The agreement was made only to say that we will consider it. No agreement was actually made with them, just said that we allow Lawrence City's name to be used to reserve the capacity with no commitment further. So that is where the whole effort started. And then I'm going to let the team take over from here because they will explain the whole project, the whole concept. It's a kind of project that I actually had helped even City of Andover, and we have been extremely happy with that kind of arrangement. And I'm hoping that City of Lawrence benefits from it too. So that is the team.
Thank you.
I think Mary will introduce yourself. This is
Hello, my name's Mary Sullivan, and I represent Agilitas Energy, and we are a renewable energy developer based in Massachusetts. And we wanted to work with, and we've been talking to the City of Lawrence for about a year now, because there is now, so, listening to the air. Let's see, here, can I address the, oops. I was just trying to hit the
you have
next
to go to the
key.
next one.
Yep. Something popped up. There we go. Agilitas Energy has developed a number of, actually over 500 megawatts worth of solar and energy storage. Is this your, to advance it, to use this? What is available here with our leadership team, we are also a publicly traded company. We've worked with a number of municipalities including Holyoke, Town of Milton. The project specifically that we're talking about is we are developing a 4 megawatt hour solar project. And what we'd like to do is have a net metering agreement with the city of Lawrence, in which the city of Lawrence is getting the benefit of the renewable energy and is saving 12.5% off of your electric rate. And that is the total rate, not just the cost of the energy itself. You're probably well aware that the energy bill is made up of the distribution side plus the generation side. And the generation is only about half of your bill. So a 12.5% savings on the total bill amount is quite substantial. Net metering has a unique offering in Massachusetts. Through the Public Utility Commission, they have authorized public entities, such as the City of Lawrence, and really only public entities, to participate as net metering customers with the ACA. The entire amount that has been allocated has already been assigned to different companies. We use the City of Lawrence to accept an allocation of the amount. This does not mean that the City of Lawrence is obligated to do this, and I assure you there are many other public entities that would love to grab onto this last remaining piece. But we do have a project that's coming online next year that could deliver substantial savings to the City of Lawrence. There is no cost for the City of Lawrence to participate in this. It is just a savings opportunity. The net metering credits offset both the delivery and the supply charges. So for example, currently the supply charges would amount at the current rate, your 12.5% savings would yield over $130,000 a year, which means that over the 20-year term, you would be saving $3 billion. And all that's required on your part is to agree to participate in the net metering agreement, which has been given to your attorney for review, but it is a standard net metering agreement. The program has been vetted by the Public Utility Commission in Massachusetts. I believe you actually already have one, or the Housing Authority already has a net metering agreement, but certainly Lowell and many of your neighboring communities are also participating. 12.5% is actually a very good rate. Most are only getting 10%. We happen to be able to reserve your capacity early in the program, and also participating with there are some advantages for environmentally distressed jurisdictions, and so we are able to give you a higher savings amount. Do you have any questions about the program or anything I can answer?
Any questions, discussions? Council President.
Mustafa is my colleague.
Hi.
Oh, the lights. Are we
Turn-
all set
turn
with
your
the
lights. Yeah,
presentation?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So essentially, we have deal with a couple of projects through ANEL, which one was the couple of properties for solar panel, and the other one was a project that we're going to be offering to the community when it comes to different rates and stuff like that, an aggregation project. So knowing those two programs better than this one, tell me the difference between the three of them.
So net metering is different. I mean, this actually works very well in conjunction with, like, you're adding rooftop solar. Your total amount, you spend about, or you use approximately 12 million kilowatt hours. This is only addressing about 3, so maybe a quarter of your load. So a quarter of your bill, we'll be able to save the 12.5% on that total amount. It'll come in as a credit. And so this is addressing, this is giving you one more opportunity. It does not conflict with the additional rooftop solar projects that you're.
Councillor, if I may add, the way it works is that we layer on top of each other. It's not going to be supplemental. So if you have, we have many accounts on which this energy gets allocated. And then if you have solar, then we have, most of the time, the solar that we can probably use for that particular facility is like 30% or less. This adds on top of it. So, and there are many areas in which we can allocate where there is no solar potential. So this is where there is no solar potential, then this can be added on that meter. We have many meters on which this energy can be applied. It doesn't have to be any particular building. We can change the meters, so it's very flexible in that sense. So even if there is a solar, we can still, because even, let's just say Lawrence High School, even if you occupy most of the roof, the most we can actually use there with solar is half of it. So you still have half left. And this one producing enough energy,
So,
for example, the soccer fields and all kinds, there's a lot that we can use without interfering with any other programs.
So essentially, you guys gonna produce the energy.
Excuse me?
The company is gonna produce the energy
Yes, yes,
through a solar farm
yes,
in another location that is not announced.
correct. And then you're going to.
So those are things that I'm trying to figure out from the presentation, because the presentation was not as good as I was expecting, because it's not quite clear.
Okay.
So you guys are producing energy in another place,
Yep,
gonna sell the energy at a rate of 12.5% less than the regular energy that is coming to Lawrence. And you are trying to, you are saying that that's gonna include the supply and demand, the supply and producer of the energy, right?
yep,
I'm trying to figure it out.
yeah.
So, and that gonna save the city of Lawrence 12.5% based on the current rate.
So based on the current rates, that would save you 100.
And what is the rate that you guys gonna be selling the energy to Lawrence? So you guys gonna become a supplier?
And so this actually.
So
it
let me
becomes
underst-
an on-bill credit, because it's actually through the, I'm sorry. It's actually becoming a credit from the utility. So it really doesn't matter who your supplier is. We came up with the number based on what you're currently paying. However, you're always going to get the 12.5%, no matter which supplier you choose. It will be 12, and that includes the transmission and distribution side. So half of the bill is set by the Public Utilities Commission through National Grid, and so you're always going to be saving 12.5% of that, and then plus 12.5% off of what you pay for generation.
So essentially, what I'm understanding is, like, if we sign an agreement, which is a 20 years agreement with two potential 5 years extension.
Yep.
You guys didn't mention that on the presentation. It was there, but I read it.
I'm sorry.
Kind of like, I'm trying to kind of like, figure it out. So if we sign, if today we say yes to this vote, and it goes to the full council, the full council vote yes on this, essentially, you guys are going to produce energy somewhere else through your solar farm,
Yep.
and be able to get a reduction on the bill for the city of Lawrence becoming a supplier, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So explain it a little bit.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Let me clarify everything from scratch. So, as you can see in the slide right now, net metering program is a unique solar incentive. This is a state incentive program that City of Lawrence is trying to explore and benefit from. First of all, let's keep that in mind. Secondly, net metering program includes virtual net metering program, which is the City of Lawrence is going to benefit. This means why there is a virtual net metering program, why the state allows a city like City of Lawrence to benefit a project from Western Massachusetts, because not all the cities have enough land, enough space to build solar farms. So in order to let those cities to benefit this program, state allows virtual net metering mechanisms and allows the cities like Lowell, Lawrence, who doesn't have enough space to benefit from this program. So participating in net metering program doesn't mean we are going to be the supplier. City of Lawrence and Agilitas Energy are going to be partners in this net metering program, which this program is going to generate net metering credits with the produced electricity, and then we are going to offer 12.5% discount from the generated net metering credit. The City of Lawrence can select its own supplier together with this net metering program. You can just consider that, City of Lawrence can proceed how they are procuring their electricity as is, and in the meantime can participate in this net metering program and, benefit from this program with additional discount. So that's because, even though it's a long-term program that the City of Lawrence is going to execute, this is not going to jeopardize the City of Lawrence flexibility about getting in contact with other third-party suppliers or third-party projects. Right. And this is going to complement the ongoing efforts of City of Lawrence's, putting to execute some contracts with some other project developers for rooftop or carport systems. Yeah. They are all complementing each other to utilize almost all the electricity load of
I think the way to think about it is you have numerous, I don't know how many, but hundreds of electricity accounts, every meter. And we generate basically what's called a Schedule Z. The details don't matter, but it's a list of your accounts, and these credits get applied to those accounts. So you're going to be able to save money because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You've got this is an off-site renewable energy farm, which is giving you, some savings. You're going to do more on your roofs. You're going to go out to a competitive supplier to get the best rate you can. So there's not like one simple solution. We're one piece of it that is giving you the opportunity to take advantage of this incentive program that the state of Massachusetts has authorized, just for public utilities, or just for public.
If I can very simply state, the General Electricity, National Grids issues credits. They take 85%, they transfer the credits that National Grids gives them, 12.5% of that amount, they give it to us to be applied towards various bills we have. It's a dollar transfer. It's not kilowatt hours, it's not anything. It is equivalent of whatever kilowatts they generate gets translated into dollars, only to be applied for electricity bills we pay. And that's how it works. It's the financial deal. Even though it appears as energy and all that stuff, it's financially, it benefits us. All we say is that 12.5% applies credits to us for next 20 years of the total energy bill. So if the energy bill goes up, 12.5% amount increases. So we actually stand to benefit as the energy crisis go because we get more money transferred to our accounts.
Council Brody, do you have any additional questions? Because I know our Madam Chair from Budget and Finance has a question as well. Okay. Madam Chair, Stephanie Infante, are you available to ask your question? Hold on one second, I could barely hear you. No, it's super low. Okay. Could you try again? It's so low. Give me 1 second. No. No, no. No, please. No, we need them on. We need the lights on.
The volume.
This? Is this?
No, yes, the people behind.
Go ahead. Counselor? Could you hear me? Mm-hmm. Crazy. Counselor Infante, could you hear me?
I can hear you,
Oh,
but can you hear me?
perfect. Now, perfectly.
Okay. So first, before I say my comment, I just want to apologize for not being there. I had a memorial ceremony at Mount Vernon Park scheduled at the same time that I completely forgot about. So thank you, Vice Chair, for chairing this today. So from what I've been hearing, I'm a bit confused. I still don't fully understand this net metering situation. I also don't understand, what I do understand is that it won't interfere with the solar panels project, but I'm kind of hearing it's the same thing, essentially. So I guess it's not a question, but I just want to say I'm very confused as to what this is and why it's being presented now when we're still trying to figure out the solar panel situation too. And especially if one is not needed for the other.
Hold on. Okay. Is that all? Do you have
Yes,
anything
thank
additional
you.
to add?
No, I'm just super confused on what this is.
Okay.
I don't understand this at all.
All right. So we have Attorney Houghton here. I'm so sorry. We have our CAFO. In addition to Attorney, okay, that's
he's
why.
back there, too.
We do have Attorney Houghton here. But we have our CAFO here present. It seems like he has something to add in regards to the statements that you just made.
Yeah, I think I just want to make it clear that what was presented tonight is, this is just an opportunity for us. They're going to generate some electricity, and we're going to get 12.5% off our electric bill. That's what this contract does. It doesn't have anything to do with the solar panels. That's a whole separate thing. It's another way for us to save money, but this is something that many communities have taken advantage of, a net metering agreement. They generate power, and it's available to communities to offset their electric bills. So basically, all we're doing is getting an agreement with them, and we'll save 12.5% off our electric bills. So it's kind of a no-brainer in the sense that why wouldn't we want 12.5% off our electric bill? So that's really where,
I mean, I must add that I concur with our Madam Chair. I was also left confused just by reading some email correspondence that, we weren't CC'd on it, even though we're part of the Budget and Finance Committee. So some of this correspondence, it's like I'm seeing for the first time. So it wasn't until today's presentation where we're gaining clarity that this is separate from the solar project. Council President, hold on, I'm sorry. Madam Chair, do you have any additional questions before I give the floor to our Council President?
No, I'm still a bit confused. I'm just gonna continue listening and see if I can get a bit more clarity, and I'll raise my hand again if I have additional questions or comments.
Okay, perfect. Council President, you
you.
have the floor.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair, for the opportunity. Well, the reason why we might ask questions more than normal is because sometimes you don't get things for free. And that doesn't happen in this world. So we want to know more, like we want to know the contract. It's a 30 years, potential 30 years contract. And we know that it's a 30%, I mean, it's a wish 30%. It's 12.5%. No, not at all. But I'm wondering too if the whole program itself, what's the intake, more deep into it. So I know that if I'm getting 12.5%, what is it up there? So that's why it's like, questions were raised. Because it's tough to believe that. But it's something else. But probably you guys are producing energy on behalf of different cities and towns, and then those cities and towns are getting some cut of the production and stuff like that. So I want to know more about it, because every time that I bought on an over 3 years contract, which is usually 5 years contract, I question it. So, and then now we're getting a 20 years contract with a potential of 2 years, 5 retention period.
Agilitas, but in essence, they need they're making a major commitment
No,
to
I
build a solar
understand.
field. So and that's why they go through DPU to get this agreement in place, and that makes, if they can get an agreement for us to basically take their credits, and I'm not sure how they make money on their end, but, we get a 12.5% discount on our electric bill, and they need that 20-year commitment to be able to, for us to take those credits. Because I imagine they get paid, well, you guys can explain how you guys make money, but we save 12.5% off our electric bill based on this program, which is supervised by the Department of Public Utilities, so they have to pass all that kind of stuff, the regulatory stuff.
Yeah, and realize that I'm sorry. You're right, you're not getting anything for free. I will, but, okay, no, but it's because you buy electricity, everybody that pays in to the Public Utility Commission, okay? And so all that money, then they go through this whole rate-based process, and they've decided that what they want to do, they want more renewable energy in the state of Massachusetts. That decision was made. So a whole chunk of money was assigned, and they said, all right, how do we want to allocate this money to get people to participate? And one area was on, for public properties, so cities and towns. And there was actually, and so there was an allocation made, and we're now, and we were able to work with Anil, and it sounded like the city of Lawrence had enough usage that they could take these credits, because you have to be fairly large in order to take them, and you fit all the bills, all the requirements to be eligible, and so now you can basically get your money back. I mean, yes, you're getting free money, and if you don't sign up for this, you'll keep paying more money, and another city will take it.
Just,
But-
just to make things clarified, everybody is putting solar panels on their houses, right? So there are two business models right now. First, you can buy the solar panels, get it installed, and benefit it. but you have to put some kind of an extra money out of your pocket to do that. The other thing is working with a solar company, let them install it, lease it to you, and then you get some kind of a savings. This is almost the same. The only difference is the state creates some kind of an incentive mechanism like this and allows cities or towns like Lawrence, who doesn't have enough available land, to benefit any project beyond their boundaries, city boundaries. Otherwise, everything is almost the same regulation, same mentality. All the produced electricity generates net metering credit, and you utilize that net metering credits to compensate your electricity bill. Aside from that, let me add one more thing. As you can see, this is Mass ACA web page. This is the Mass ACA is the Department of Public Utilities Administration for the net metering program. So as you can see here, this part is the public capacity. As you can see, 410,504. This is the total net metering capacity. And let's look at here. What's the remaining one? Just 1,000, which means less than a megawatt. All the capacity is filled out, and we picked the remaining one, which means currently almost 400 megawatts of solar capacity is utilized by public entities all over Massachusetts in National Grid area, and 308 megawatts of solar capacity is utilized by other public entities throughout Massachusetts in Eversource area. So this is some kind of an incentive mechanism that requires both the developers and off-takers like public entities to work collaboratively to utilize this benefit from this incentive mechanism.
In addition to being a city attorney, I happen to be on the electric light board for my town. So let me explain it simply. In my town, we don't have Eversource or any of those. We have our own little utility. So when we go out, we buy contracts. We buy water power from Canada. We buy solar from someplace else. We buy gas from the Midwest. We buy it all over. And we get to get the best price because we pick it. You're a city, you don't get to do that. You're stuck with your provider. You're stuck with National Grid, you're stuck with Eversource. You pay what they tell you to pay. So what's happened is the government, make it simple, is the government has said to those big companies, hey, you've got to get some solar in there and give incentives for these solar companies to come in. So that's how they're making money, is the government's paying them and they're paying to get you on because the government wants you on solar. I don't know if that's simple enough, but that's what the cities can do as opposed to a town. A town, we can buy our own power from whoever we want. If we don't like the solar power, we go someplace else. We actually built our own solar field. You can't do that, so it's just, this is what you do. Whether you want it or not, I'm not an advocate, I'm not against, I'm just trying to explain it in a simple way.
All right.
I appreciate that explanation.
Through you, Madam Chair. Essentially, I'm not against this. I'm like neutral, perhaps. I want to see the contract, but I'm willing to hear you guys more and provide us with a presentation explaining the metering agreement in a way that is being discussed, perhaps, and also the contract as of how we're going to be getting or engage into a 20 years contract.
So you'd
So-
like to, I'm sorry.
So essentially, a good presentation that explain both the agreement better and also the contract as of what the city of Lawrence is going to be getting into for the next 20 years. So that's going to, if we send it up to the full council, That's what I personally would like to see eventually at the full council level.
I mean, we can certainly share the.
Madam Vice
contract.
Chair?
Councilor Fontaine, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Is Council President all set?
Yes, he is.
Okay, thank you. I'm agreeing with Council President Rodriguez. I'm still very neutral on this. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I've had a long day, but I'm still a bit confused. However, I do believe, what we've experienced with the other project, I do believe bigger projects like this, we should be discussing it. I mean, we're 3 or 4 out of, 9 total council members. And I don't think we should keep it here. I think we should send it up as a committee report and have the parties, the stakeholders, like Council President said, develop a better presentation, and us as a whole, as a council as a whole, question and comments and determine what we believe will be the best for the city, whether we make a decision that night or not, or we table and we come back to it. But I do believe that this is a bigger discussion than just us 3 at the moment. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Definitely. So, do you understand?
No, that's why I'm a little confused. Are
Well,
you looking for-
I'll explain it to you. So essentially, we're 2 of us are, at least 2 of us are neutral, but willing to move it forward.
Okay.
That's what you're looking for.
All right.
So essentially, once we move it forward as a committee report, no recommendation from this committee, that will be presented at the full council as a committee report. We will accept the committee report, and then we'll provide you the opportunity to bring to us a better presentation that explain the net metering agreement, and also the contract as of where the city is going to get into. Obviously, at that point, we're going to have the city attorney and everybody around that is going to help you a little more when it comes to probably the contract, but we would like to see the intakes of the contract as well, because we are voting on a 20 years contract, plus and a potential extension of 2 extra 5 years, which is a 30 years contract. We never have done, we haven't done that before. I've been here for almost 10 years. But we're willing to hear you out.
Right.
Since
No,
the
that's
fact that you mentioned that it is not for free, and we want to do the intakes,
Well,
of
I
the in
guess
and out.
I meant that it is, it's actually money that you've already paid, so you should get it back.
Okay.
Is really what I meant by not for free, is somebody's going to get the money.
Yeah. So just to
And
summarize.
so would you like to see like a sample, in order to explain it better, would you like to see like a sample invoice to show you how the money is going to show up on your accounts so that you can see?
What you should do is get together with the CAFO and be able to present a better understanding of how the savings are going to come, but where the savings are coming and how the Massachusetts Public Utilities are allocating those programs and the background information and as much information as you can. If you present this presentation to anybody, it will be like tough to understand it, because the first thing that needs to be defined is what is a net meter agreement. And then after that, we go from there. And seeing those numbers and the potential savings, where they come from, and what agreement we're going to get into it. I'm assuming that you guys are going to be using, this project is going to be on behalf of the city of Lawrence and other communities around to be able to produce a credit from the state, and then because you're producing solar, and then be able to offset the cost of the city based on credit that you guys are producing, or based on energy that you guys are producing. So, but let's get into it a little more deep. Send it up to the full council. We have no issues. We're neutral, so we have no issue with the current presentation, and willing to move forward. So with that
Okay.
said, I'll make a motion to send.
Oh, wait,
it to
we have,
Stephanie. Sorry.
Madam Chair, I believe you have a question?
No, sorry,
Oh.
I forgot to lower my
Okay.
hand. I apologize.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to send it to the full council as a committee report, pending a presentation with a better explanation of the program itself, including the contract portion of it, as of how the city is going to be getting into. And I make that as a form of a
Second.
motion.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, seconded by our Madam Chair. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes
Roll
have.
call.
Roll call? Okay.
Yes, because I'm on Zoom.
Oh. I. Okay, our Madam Chair, Stephanie Infante?
Yes.
Okay. Our Council President Rodriguez?
Yes.
And I vote in the affirmative. So the ayes have it. Yep. Thank you so much. Are there any additional items that need to be addressed? No? Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
No, I have,
Yes.
I want to take the other item from that was tabled. I would like to bring it forward.
Say that again?
There was item,
It's item, I don't have my glasses on. We have a July 15th deadline, so it's item 437A and B. It was
4:37.
tabled at the last meeting.
yeah, we have a deadline with National Grid. So if we don't do that, we will lose an enormous opportunity. I would like, all
Okay.
I'd like to do is to take a vote to see that.
I have to see if I even have quorum. And Madam Chair, there is two items that, well, item 437A-23 and 437B-23 relating to the solar panels. Are you going to be available for this? We do have a 7 PM ordinance meeting.
Well, we're just asking for it to be sent up as a committee report to the full city council.
Yeah, that's all we are
Which I think we
asking.
talked about the last time.
Last time you said that we will do it next time, so.
No, we don't commit on dates. We don't commit on dates, we table it.
Well, Council President, you're not even speaking on the mic.
We didn't commit on any dates. We tabled it and we left it here until the council decide, not until deadlines decide.
No, but if you don't move it to the full council now, we actually would lose the ability to put solar on Arlington. That's what it is. I
No,
would
we're
like
gonna,
you to-
according to what I
So
understood,
would-
we're gonna start from scratch.
Sorry.
We're not losing the opportunity to put panels. Don't confuse anybody.
We will be losing the opportunity this time because we go back in the queue. If the queue gets full, then we have, so all I'm
This time,
asking
yes.
is that last time the discussion was that if you can move it towards the full council meeting.
Yeah, we're
so that-
losing the opportunity this time. We're never gonna lose the opportunity to
Of
lose.
course, you're right
to
about
have panels.
that.
Probably this is an opportunity to discuss other sorts of having panels.
Okay.
I mean, solar is not going anywhere, so I'm not talking about, but there is a particular opportunity, window of opportunity we have. If you can at least allow the full council to discuss this, that would be really appreciated. But that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to vote yes or no. Allow this to move forward to the full council
Okay.
meeting.
We have our Madam Chair that has raised her hand. I just wanted to make sure and confirm if she had any questions.
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I was vocal last meeting about this. I also think that this is a matter that shouldn't be kept at the committee level. I think this is a bigger project that should have the opinion of all 9 councilors. And I mean, I'm still with the same sentiments I said last meeting. I don't think this should stay here. And if the council still feels like this isn't the right move, or if there's still questions around it, we can still table at the full council. But I do believe that this is another big project. This is another conversation that should be held with all 9 council. I actually, with this and the previous item, I understand there's a financial aspect to it, But I also, and this is just my personal opinion, big projects like this, I don't understand why we send it to smaller committees. I personally believe it should be sent to the committee of the whole, so we can all discuss, because this is something that affects everybody in a major way. And that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay. So I'm looking for a recommendation in order for us to kind of like finalize what
I make a motion to send, what's the item number?
So are we doing one item at a time? The first item is
Yep.
item number 437A-23, solar PPA and lease contracts with Solect Electric for City Hall, 150 solar panels, Arlington School, 600 solar panels.
So I recommend to send that item, everything that the vice chair just mentioned, to the full council as a committee report. And just as a committee report, for the sake of discussion, and I make that as a formal motion.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
We need
Do we need roll call?
Mm-hmm.
Can we have roll call? All right. Madam Chair Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez? No vote. Okay. And I vote in the affirmative? So abstaining. You're abstaining? Yeah. Oh, no? Present, you're present.
No, there's no vote.
Okay. So the ayes have it. The second item on the agenda pertaining to the solar panels is item number 437B-23, solar PPA and lease contracts with Select Electric for any other property.
Madam Vice Chair, I make a motion to send that to the full council as solely a committee report for the purpose of a full council discussion.
Okay, and I second that. Roll call. Madam Chair?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez? Okay, and I vote in the affirmative, and the ayes have it.
Madam Vice Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Through you, I just asked that the administration, the CAFO, the advisor, and for all 3 items that we just sent up as a committee report, to be prepared. This isn't, and I'm going to make this very clear, this is not a favor to move it out of committee. This is, at least, and I'm just speaking for myself, this is how I'm seeing it. This is solely because I believe, I'm only 1 vote though, but the way that I'm viewing these projects, they're too big of a project for just us. So be prepared. You're gonna have more questions. This does not mean that anything is moving forward, but we deserve to discuss this all together. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting? Oh, yes, sir, Counselor LaPlante. I'm so sorry.
For whatever it's worth, there's a document with my name on it. It's the very last one. We've done nothing on it since 2015. I'd like to make a motion to withdraw document 19715. No one's doing anything with it. We can always get it whenever we
197.15.
want it, and it's just taking space in your agenda, so we just take it out.
Okay. So I believe I need a motion to take it out of tabled matters.
Motion to withdraw? Motion to untable? No, motion to withdraw from table. What's the number again, Madam Vice Chair?
Okay, so under tabled matters, it is item number, use your microphone. It is item number 197-15, properties with outstanding taxes due to the City of Lawrence, review of payment, tax title, and disposal process. Can I get a motion on the table, a proper motion on the table?
I'll make a motion, so to make it easy for the chair. I'll make a
Thank you.
motion to untable it and send it to the full council for withdrawal.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay. So there was a motion made on the table to untable and to move, to send to full council for withdrawal. Item number 197-15. -15. So we're untabling and moving to full council to withdraw. And that was seconded by our Madam Chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So move.
Second. All those in
Second.
favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes
Aye.
have it. Roll call? Oh, I'm so sorry, I always do this. Okay, Council President Rodriguez. Our Madam Chair,
Yes.
Councilor Fonte, yes, and I vote in the affirmative. And the ayes have it.
Thank you so much, councilors.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Good evening, councilors. Today is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. This is the Intergovernmental Relations Ordinance Committee. Voting members are Council Vice Chair Reyes, Councilor Del Rosario, Councilor Santiago, and I am your host this evening and Chair Mark LaPlante. Pursuant to chapter, there'll be a test later to the audience if you're not paying attention. I'll be asking questions, so please pay attention. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Ordinance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person or at the location above, or use any of the following access locations, including the Lawrence City Council YouTube page and Lawrence City Council Facebook page. At this point, I'd like for us to all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve?
Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Council Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Councilors, we do have a full agenda. We have a number of people in the audience here that, of course, as we always do, we take them first. Councilor Del Rosario, I heard what you had to say. Well, two things. We're going to go with a couple of items first that will make our meeting go a little more smoothly. And then, our good friends from the metering agreement, folks, who have just spent time with the Budget and Finance, are going to give us a quick recap because they've already given the presentation of Budget and Finance. We're going to get a small presentation tonight, and then we're going to hopefully move that up without a recommendation to the full council. So, having said all that, so we're going to take you number 2. So we're going to stick around. It won't be long. You can stick around. If there's no objection, I'd like to take document number 32324 as the first part of tonight's agenda. Is there any objection to that? No objections. We're going to start with that one. 323, proposed new ordinance for the manager of financial and administrative services.
And I'll be excusing myself.
Councilor Del Rosario is recusing himself from the discussion and the vote. Let that please be duly noted that Councilor Del Rosario is recusing himself from this item. He will not be here for this item. Please make sure the notes reflect that. Thank you. Sure. The first item, 32324. We're going to start with that one. 32324. Let's start off with that one. Welcome, Ms. Del Rosario. Welcome. There's an item here, Manager of Financial Administrative Services. Can you please just talk us through why this is before us and why it's important that we add this ordinance?
Good evening, councilors. Rosana Del Rosario, Deputy Director, Public Works, City of Lawrence, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Massachusetts. So why the need that we have for a manager of financial services and administrative services at our Public Works is that the position established in the Department of Public Works should be appointed by the mayor. Their duties should be the responsibility for providing the financial and administrative management of the department, performing financial and administrative services for DPW. This position has an overall management responsibility for financial and accounting functions for the department. This person should perform all the other related or similar work as required. In the performance of these duties, the manager of financial and administrative services shall prepare and submit the annual department budget that is funded through the city's general fund, participate in the presentation to city officials, and be accountable to ensure the budget is maintained in accordance with approvals. The education and experience needed for this position should be a Bachelor of Arts or Business Administration, preferable, or 5 to 7 years of professional experience in which major duties includes one or more of the following functions: records management, financial administration, budgeting control, accounting, office management, or program management, in a municipal environment. And last but not least, the salary and benefits of this position should be entitled to receive all benefits provided to union employees regularly employed in the administrative service of the city. And just as a resume of the importance of having this person as part of our team is that currently the public works have about 170 accounts that need to pay. This is not counting all the contracts, all the payments that we have to process to our vendors. So that brings us to probably about 200 and something more accounts on a monthly basis.
So how is this being done now? And if we create this position, how is this going to impact the city and the taxpayers?
Well, the way that this is gonna impact, it will be in a beneficial way because our payments are gonna be processed on a timely manner. Right now, we have an accounts payable at the Public Works Office that's taking care of all of this work, and a lot of it is getting obviously backed up due to not having enough help when it comes to paying or invoices or managing everything that has to do with our financial administration.
So who's doing this job now? Who's doing this
We
responsibility?
have our accounts payable, and some of the work that she has to do because it's so much, she gets some help from the clerks, and so technically we have employees that have to stop doing what they need to be doing so that they can help us with the payment of the invoices.
So here's my last question. So I go home, I'm voting, let's say I vote for this tonight, I go home. And someone says to me, LaPlante, what are you doing? Why did you vote for that? And I'm gonna say to them, I voted for this because there's 170 different bills that have to be paid, that some stuff was falling between the cracks, and there's greater efficiencies, and we need to move forward in a more timely manner. Am I missing anything, or is there anything else?
No, you're not. You got it correct.
Because that's not happening now.
Okay.
Is that what you're telling me? What I just said is not happening now, which is why we have to have this new position?
It is not happening the way it should be happening because we don't have someone that's designated to perform those duties, only those duties. Based on the fact that our department has so many divisions, we have to take care of paying every single contract of each division and everything else that falls into the public works side.
And the real, so here's the secret, right? What my constituents want to know is, will my streets be swept? Will my parks be cleaned? Will the buildings that I walk into be safe? This is what they're looking for. And if you're telling me that if we have this person, that this is going to increase and make that happen, because that's the mission for the Department of Public Works. That's your mission. If you're telling me that if we get someone who's doing paperwork and finance, that's going to be able, people are going to be looking at our DPW and saying, yeah, it's better now because that's happening, then I think this is well worth it. But I want to hear that from you. Is there going to be a relationship between what people's services they're going to see versus, and because of this position?
There is a relationship due to the fact that we take care of paying our vendors, the ones that provide those services for us and the city. So if we can expedite or process their payments to their contracts the way we should be doing it, they're gonna be happily out there performing the street sweeping and everything else that we contract them to do.
Gotcha. Questions from councilors? Comments, motions?
You are very clear.
What's that?
And specific, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Because
I've been doing this for a while.
I want to see that safe and clean.
Yeah.
And everything like that.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I have a question.
Councilor Santiago.
How much will be the salary for this position?
So the salary information, I do not have it. I do have just the information here that it says that the benefits and the salary that this person's going to provide is going to be based on what the union employees usually get when it comes to their administrative service of pay. So it's not something that we determine, so that I can be more clear about. It's something that the union determines once this position gets created. it falls under certain category, and then they'll say, because this employee falls into this category, and this is how much this person should be making.
Okay, before I take the vote for that, I would like to know the salary, because we recently voted for tremendous budget, and that's another addition at the budget. And the monies will be gone. And another question that I have is, yeah, you mentioned it is appointed by the mayor. Who can apply for this position? Really just appointed by the mayor?
When I said appointed by the mayor, is because we're in the process of creating this ordinance. This is from my understanding. That does not mean that the mayor is gonna be the person that's going to choose this employee. It may be someone that is probably already doing these functions, and he may be able to apply for this position. And I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly, because we're just creating the ordinance so that the job can be created, the position can be created.
Okay, I understand.
I just want to maybe help a little bit with that. For
Thank you.
almost every position in the city, almost every position, the mayor is the hiring authority for almost every position. There are some positions where the mayor appoints and the council has to confirm. That's not one of these positions, but almost every other position, whether it's union or non-union, unless it's a department head of some sort where we get involved, the mayor is the hiring authority. So appointed by the mayor, I think, is a pretty standard. The mayor, whoever the mayor is the person who has the appointment. So I don't think that's unusual at all. Whatever that's worth. Okay.
Thank you.
So I do think that the Council of Santiago makes a point. I think there needs to be some more, we need to have some sort of clarification. It says that I'm reading it again. Is this a union position or a non-union position?
This will be a union position.
It will be union, okay. So we would want to know what union it's in. That would be good to know. I don't think it has to be on here, but that would, once you know what union it is and what pay scale it is, that would answer the counselor's question, which is what's the rate? So all you gotta do is find that out, and that answers the counselor's question, right?
Of course.
And do you know which union it is, and do you know which number in the union in the Barrington report? But you're gonna be saving about 3 seconds because the capo is here.
Perfect. I do know which union it is. It's in
Okay.
the Supervisors Administrators
Okay.
Union.
Yes, yeah.
I don't recall the salary, but
Okay.
it's per the union contract. It's one of the higher paid salaries in that union. It's Manager of Financial Services. There's a position, the same position is in Community Development, and there might be one others in the city. So the salary's got to be somewhere between 80 and 120, 80 and 100,000, 80 and 115,000, something like that. If that helps.
Well, that was your question, right? So.
Thank you, Kafo.
So I think, I don't know where we're going with this, but I think that's going to be a question that the full council will want to know. And so I think that if we can get that information, that would be helpful, right? So I'm looking at this point for a motion of some sort.
I would like to send the item 32324 to the full council meeting for the favorable recommendation, and to know the salary as well.
And a condition on there is the union position, the union and its salary, wages. That's the condition on the motion? Yes. There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by the vice chair. Any further discussion? See no further discussion, I'll call the question. And of course, Mr. Capo, we got to order, it's an ordinance change. We have to order a public hearing on this, correct? All ordinance changes require public hearings, correct? This is an ordinance.
I don't believe this is an ordinance. I'm not sure.
It says it right on there.
I'm not familiar with it. If it's an ordinance change, then it would require a public hearing.
It does.
I don't know what's being changed.
It says, be it ordained by the city council and the revised ordinances further amended. We're amending and substituting the, so we are, whenever we change our ordinances, I think that's the
This
rule.
position I know has already been ordinance, so.
But we're changing the ordinance, that's the
Okay.
point. I'm pretty confident this needs a public hearing. So the order to order a public hearing, is that the motion? So we still want the information, though. So the motion is to send this up to the full council, order a public hearing, and also receive the information regarding the salary. Motion's been properly made and properly seconded, and properly seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're here for another one as well?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rosario? Okay. And then we're getting to the energy one next, so don't go too far. Go ahead. This is document 32424. You don't need to read the whole thing for us, Ms. Del Rosario. I think what would be really important here, in your own words, what is this position, why is it important, and why do we need it?
Thank you, Councilor LaPlante. So this position will be important based on the fact that our city...
Let's give at least the title. This is a sanitation hazardous material program manager.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So this person will be in charge of handling our hazardous materials. And when I talk to hazardous materials, I can give you some piece of information. Currently, we collect 690 tons of sweeping piles. These materials are considered hazardous. We need to have someone that's dedicated to be involved directly with how we dispose this, who is the company that we hire to dispose these materials, and also to help us educate the community and also the other employees that we have on how we need to dispose and how we need to take care of ourselves to protect ourselves from these materials.
Okay, I'll ask the same question. So the same person, maybe as somebody else in the household, says to me, why did you vote for this? And I need to say, well, are we doing any of this now? Who's doing this now? Anybody?
So right now, we have a very limited amount of items that we receive at our DPW yard, and it's currently taking care of our recycling crew. At the moment, we need to try to be better at it. We need to try to increase the type of materials that we receive, pesticides and all of those really hazardous materials, because we don't have a system of receiving them from the community. And that tells us that they're going somewhere. They're either going into the trash, or they're going into the soil. They're going somewhere. We're definitely getting these items. It's just we're not getting them the correct way. So we also need to make sure that this person that's gonna be taking care of this position, the person that we're gonna hire to be the sanitation and hazardous material manager, help us to create a system of receiving these items from our constituents and also enforcing that these items do not get disposed into the wrong place.
Very good. The one thing that seems to be missing on this sheet is what you had in the last one, which is a section called Education and Experience. I don't see that on here.
Okay. Yes, you are correct. That part is missing here.
Do you have that in a different draft, or is this something you would have to go
I don't have it
back?
in front of me,
Okay.
but we can definitely get
Okay.
that back to you guys. And also, this position will be a non-union
Yeah, okay.
position.
That's non-union, okay.
Mhm.
Council, if you have any questions, now's a good time to ask them, so that, and I would ask that we table it here so that they can come back with the additional information at the next meeting. But is there any other questions while Ms. Del Rosario is here on this matter?
I can repeat the question for the next.
You want to wait?
Yeah.
Okay. Counselor, you want to wait too, or do you want to ask now? Wait, okay. I'm looking for a motion to table this matter and invite Ms. Del Rosario to our next meeting and bring back the other information. If you can get that to us beforehand and get it over to the city attorney, the city clerk, that would be helpful. And if you could put it in, just do a new draft of this document and put a section C or D or whatever you decide to title it, and just make it part of that.
Well
So
done.
much.
Motion to table's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Del
Thank you,
Rosario.
councilors. Have a good evening.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Okay, listen, we're going to take these poor people right here, the metering folks, have been here for 6 o'clock in the budget meeting, so we're going to take them up now. We also have, it won't take long, I know we have the Feast of the Three Saints folks are here. That's usually a pretty quick one. We can get through that pretty fast. And then we have Saturday, and I think that's a quick one too, but we made a promise to get you guys out of here sooner rather than later. So if there's no objection, let's deal with document number 33224, and the name on the document is incorrect that you see there.
Net metering contract.
It should say new metering agreement, I think. It says that, net metering agreement. Should say net, not new, net. Okay, so,
Councilors, thank you for the opportunity. I'll be extremely brief because I have gone through this process, but
Yep.
I want to explain the product that we introduce here for the benefit of the city is pure benefits, and the risks are taken by the people who are offering the product. The proposal in front of the committee is that they will offer a discount on our energy bills to the tune of 12.5% of the total amount of energy they will produce on the solar farm they make out in the west. The brief context for that is state wants to increase solar capacity in the Massachusetts. 5% of the total capacity for the state is reserved for solar. That amount gets allocated to various people in various proportions. Certain amount is allocated only for communities like Lawrence, where the people who would like to benefit from it. So that quota, once it is full, the legislation has to release more quota. They have not done it yet, so that quota is almost done for city like Lawrence, so that we were lucky enough to reserve certain amount for us. The benefit for us is that whatever energy they produce, they keep about 87.5% for them. They get all the benefits, the net metering, the solar credits, everything they keep themselves. 12.5% of that, they give it to city like Lawrence if they sign the contract saying that, yes, that quota we want to use. So we get 12.5%. Generally, people get 10%, we are getting 12.5%. And the contract is that we will continue to get this for 20 years with the ability to have the contract renewed every 5 years. That is the deal. We are going to get 12.5% cash only to be paid our electricity bills. It's not ordinary cash, it's the credit to pay the bills. And we can say that this is the account on which it applies to that account. We can change the account numbers, whatever, but it is something that we can use towards that account. That is in the simplest way I can present it in the shortest time.
is this is the continuation of the process we've been talking about now for seemingly a year or two? Is this the same issue we're talking about with Senator Payano when he was on the council promoted? Is this the same thing or is this different?
No. So the word solar is misleading. So that we are talking about several solar products in the city.
Okay.
One is the solar rooftops, which is different. This is solar credits that they will produce that we will get the money from. This is orthogonal and can be overlapping with whatever we do. It doesn't stop us from doing anything else. We can stack it, okay? So we are getting pure benefits. If you want to know the risk is a very simple. They stop producing those panels. The panels go caca. They go belly up. So what's the risk? We don't get the credit. That's it. We're not obligated to pay them anything. Not now, not for next 10 years, not for 20 years, nothing. All that we did to tell the state that we want to allocate that quota on our behalf. They invest, they do everything. We get 12.5% of that to us. It's the simplest way I can present. Unfortunately, I didn't have this benefit of presenting last committee because we confused them quite a bit, and that was apologize to them also, but you got the benefit. If you have any questions, we'll be more